Hello there guys! In this video we're going to be taking a look at Farimba, which is the unique technology for the Malians available in the Imperial Age. Farimba gives your cavalry an additional 5 attack for the cost of 650 food and 400 gold. The question is, how good is it, and is it worth that resource investment? I think there's 2 factors that we need to look at in this video. The first factor is the cost effectiveness of this research. Is it expensive or is it cheap for the effect that you're getting? And the second thing I think we should look at is how good it actually makes the Malian cavalry. I like to think of Farimba as a souped up blacksmith upgrade that's available from the castle. Since it's very similar to forging, iron casting and blast furnace, which are the blacksmith technologies that give your infantry and cavalry additional attack. To figure out how cost-effective Farimba is, I wanted to compare it to the costs of those 3 blacksmith technologies. The total cost of forging, iron casting and blast furnace is 645 food and 345 gold. Now if you compare that to the cost of Farimba, you can see that Farimba only costs an additional 5 food and an additional 55 gold. I think this technology is probably balanced around the comparable cost of those 3 blacksmith technologies. In my opinion, looking at these numbers at a glance, it seems like Farimba is quite well priced for the effect that you get. One thing we have to bear in mind is that the blacksmith technologies also affect the infantry as well as the cavalry, whereas Farimba only affects cavalry. But what we have to remember here is that Farimba isn't a replacement for these 3 technologies. The Malians can research forging and iron casting. However, blast furnace is the technology that they miss from the blacksmith. So in the Imperial Age, I think it's easier to look at Farimba as a replacement for blast furnace when you're looking at upgrading your cavalry. So let's compare the cost of Farimba to the cost of blast furnace on its own. Now, you guys may disagree with my method here, so if you do, please leave a comment with some suggestions down below. This isn't a choice between getting Farimba or getting Blast Furnace. Since the Malians don't get that Blast Furnace technology, we're only going to compare the +5 cavalry attack from Farimba to the +2 cavalry attack that we would have gotten had Blast Furnace been available. So instead of looking at the Blast Furnace technology as +2 to infantry and +2 to cavalry and working out the value of that, we're just going to look at Blast Furnace as a +2 cavalry attack upgrade and work out the cost effectiveness of that. So, to figure out how many resources you have to spend to get each additional attack, the Farimba technology gives us 130 food and 80 gold. So that means that you're paying 130 food and 80 gold per each cavalry attack you're getting. And for the Blast Furnace upgrade, we're looking at 137.5 food and 112.5 gold. So each additional cavalry attack that you'd be getting from Blast Furnace would cost you 137 food and 112 gold. In my opinion, using this experiment, I believe that Farimba is incredibly well priced, and in fact, it's almost a no-brainer if you're planning on making cavalry as the Malians. And when you consider that you're going to be in the Imperial Age when this technology is available, 650 food and 400 gold is very affordable. So I guess the question is now, how viable does the Malian cavalry become? How does the Malian cavalry stack up to other civilizations? And with this Farimba technology, does it actually make Malian cavalry a good choice? In total, with Farimba, forging and iron casting researched, your cavalry will get an additional 7 attack. So here's something that may make you do a little bit of a double take. Here's a Malian Cavalier versus a Celt Paladin. And here's a Malian Cavalier versus a Byzantine Paladin. Now obviously, these civilizations are not exactly well known for having the best paladins in the game, but it did come as a little bit of a surprise to find this out. But the real kicker is that not only does the Malian Cavalier beat the Byzantine and Celt Paladin, it also costs less to fully upgrade. And since you don't need to do that Paladin upgrade, which takes a very long time to complete, the Malians can fully upgrade their Cavalier much more quickly as well. Now, obviously, there are some downsides that we have to take into consideration. Since the Cavalier has less HP than the Paladin, this means that the Malian Cavalier are not going to be as good at raiding, since the arrow fire that they take from castles and town centres will kill them faster due to having that less HP. However, I think if you're using them in a situation where you're not looking to raid, so you're using them to take on your opponent's military, I think they could be a really good addition. There is, of course, that other stabled unit, you know, the what's it called? The camel. Yeah, we need to look at that one as well. And since the Malians get the heavy camel upgrade, this actually makes their camels very strong. And I'll be more interested to see exactly how their camels stack up, and then we'll figure out when's best to use the Cavalier and when is best to use the camel. So in the first demonstration, I'm going to use the same Byzantine paladins that we saw earlier, and I'll put the Malian heavy camel side by side with the Malian cavalier, and you'll immediately see the difference. In this situation, it's clearly better to use the camels. So if you're fighting against the civilizations such as the Franks or the Spanish, and they're making a lot of paladins, then obviously going for the heavy camel will be the better choice. And since you've got Farimba, which gives your camels +7 attack instead of +4, like most other civilizations with camels, you're going to be doing a lot better. I wanted to compare the Malian heavy camel side by side with the Saracen heavy camel, and also the Imperial camel of the Indians. This gives us an idea of how the heavy camel for the Malians stacks up compared to these really good camel civilizations that already exist in the game. Now, I don't want to go too in-depth here, otherwise I'm going to end up making a who has the best camels video, and that's not what this video is all about. But I set up a 6v6 test with 6 Byzantine paladins versus 6 camels from the Malians, Saracens and Indians, and I also used the Turks here as a control group, since the Turks get no special benefits to their camels. After the fight was over, I took the total HP of the remaining camels for each civilization, and we'll use that as our comparison. I did the test multiple times and averaged the results out. So as you can see here, the Turks' camels averaged 386 remaining HP. The Malians were next, with an average of 477 remaining HP. Then the Indian camels with 524, and finally the Saracen camels with 547. This was just a quick and dirty test, so don't take these results as an order in who has the best camels. It's just to give us a quick idea of how the Malian camels stack up between these civilizations. The results showed that the Malian camels were closer in strength to the Saracen and Indian camels than they were to the Turk camels, and I think that's very reasonable considering the Malians are not even listed as a cavalry or camel civilization. It's safe to say that the Farimba technology is very well priced, and if you're planning on making any cavalry at all, then it's basically a no-brainer to research this tech. All you have left to do then is decide whether you're going to be creating cavalier or whether you're going to go down the heavy camel route. And as we've seen already, the heavy camels are going to perform extremely well versus cavalry civilizations, and the cavalier are going to perform very well against civilizations who are making perhaps a lot of infantry or a lot of siege. Also keep in mind that the cavalier is going to be a better option when raiding, since camels take additional damage from buildings, and I think that should give you a good roadmap of when the Malian cavalry is best used. Of course, the Farimba technology is a must, and it's comparable with doing the blacksmith upgrades, only a better value for money. So hopefully this video has been useful to you. If you enjoyed this content, please leave a little like, and I'll see you guys next time.